Hello, I am Christy Eidson. I'm a stand-up comedian, writer, and actor. And I've been doing stand-up comedy for over 15 years. And I'm here to tell you the do's and don'ts of stand-up comedy. Don't lie. Exaggerate is fine, but don't lie. If you come up with a joke of like, oh, this time when I was an astrophysicist, if you're not one, who's going to believe you? The truth is so much funnier than anything you could ever make up. Your life is what makes you original. You may be like, oh, well, somebody may have done this joke before, but they've never lived it the way you did. They've never done it the way you've done it. They've never experienced the things you've experienced. Don't be a dick. Unless that's a character you're doing, don't be a dick. Try your damnedest to be likable and humble. That's going to go so much more further than anything else, because then you're going to exude confidence. Even insult comics, Lisa Lampanelli, Don Rickles, I mean, they're calling you everything in the world. But what makes them be able to get away with that? They're likable. Don't run the light. If the host has told you what to expect when you get that little light, if you've got a 5-minute set, you're going to get the light at 4, get out of there once you get the light. Finish up your bit. My name's Christy. Have a good night. Get off that stage. Nothing is more disrespectful and irritating than when you run the light. You're taking time away from other comedians, so it's disrespectful to them, to the club, to the audience, and to the booker. And if you make a habit of it, the bookers remember, and they will not invite you back again. Don't take notes on stage if you can help it, especially if it's a book show. Open mics, you can maybe get away with it, but a book show, come on. You've had time to memorize your act. You've had time to rehearse it. It screams amateur when you get up on stage with your notes. Don't do a comedy club as your first open mic. Unless you're in a town where that's the only open mic, don't, because you don't get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you get up on stage and you eat poop, the club owners and the bookers, they're going to remember that. And it's going to be harder to regain a second impression than it is a first impression. Try to see if you can find a bar or restaurant somewhere else in your city that's going to have an open mic, and do that. If there isn't an open mic in your town, start one. That's a great opportunity. If you're wanting to do comedy, there's other people around you that want to do comedy. So if there's not an open mic, find a place and start one. Don't think that after doing stand-up comedy a year that you're going to become a road comic. You wouldn't pick up the guitar, start playing it, and then after a year of playing it, Jack White is going to say, hey, come tour with me. Probably not going to happen unless you're some sort of genius prodigy. And I doubt you are. No offense, but you're probably not. A lot of us, when you start, you're full of piss and vinegar, and you're like, I'm so good. I've gotten so better in this year. I am ready to get my paid gigs and go on the road. Good luck with that. First off, you need practice. You need a lot of practice. You got to get a lot of stage time under your belt to become seasoned. You don't even know who you are as a comedian yet. You don't even know what your voice is. Don't be too wordy with your jokes. Use an economy of words. Look at the joke that you've written down and ask yourself, are all these words necessary? The reason I say this is you're wanting to tell a story, or are you wanting to tell jokes? Because if you're wanting to do stories, that's a whole different genre. If you're doing jokes, you're wanting to get as many laughs as you can. Phyllis Diller often boasted that she held the record for laughs per minute. 12 laughs in a minute. And not to say that you can do that, but man, you better hope within a minute you get at least 3 laughs, or else you need to cut some stuff down. Don't talk so fast. Slow down. I know that I am just as guilty of that as anybody else, of talking fast, but especially if you're doing a show in an area that you're not used to, someone may not understand your accent, for one, and that may be why you need to slow down. But also, you need the audience to have time to digest what you're saying. If you're talking so fast, they can't keep up, and you're going to miss out on some great laughs. Don't move around without purpose on stage. I'll see people walking back and forth on the stage like a tiger in a cage, and it just, instead of looking like you've got energy, it looks like you're nervous. If you're really animated about what you're saying, you can get away with it. But otherwise, it's like in Talladega Nights, I don't know what to do with my hands. That's basically what you're doing. You don't know what to do with your body, so you're trying to find something to do with it. Same with using the cable as a prop. Leave the mic cable alone. Hecklers, never, ever give the mic to a heckler. Never. It's not going to work out the way you think it's going to. Definitely don't give the heckler more power than they think they need. I know they think they're helping you. Dolly Parton. She was on stage and somebody, it was a positive heckle too. And you can get positive heckles. I've had those. Somebody yelled out, "I love you, Dolly." And she responded back, "I told you to stay in the truck." I mean, it addressed them, shut them down, and it got the audience laughing. Now the do's of stand-up comedy. Do address the elephant in the room. If you have a weird haircut, or maybe you've got a limp, or maybe you're on crutches, or yeah, if there's something obvious about you, if you've got big boobs, address the elephant in the room. Get it out of the way. It's what the audience is thinking about. They're expecting you to say something about it. Make it part of your act. Write a lot. Don't think you can get up there and wing it. It doesn't work like that. It's never going to be as funny as you think it's going to be, of like, I'm just going to throw out some ad libs. And I know the first name that comes to mind, Robin Williams. Trust me, a lot of those ad libs were written. He had a mental Rolodex that he would pull out a joke if it met a certain situation. So most ad libs are not improvised. Use the silence to your advantage. There are times where not saying anything is appropriate. Like if somebody's coming in to the show late, sometimes the best thing you can do is just sit and watch them sit down, and the audience will die laughing with you. Silence is just as important as anything that you can say. Do think outside the box. There's not one right or wrong way to do comedy. Comedy isn't just getting up on a stage. There's all kinds of ways that you can do comedy. Tim Wilson, I talked to him before he passed. Great guy, full of information. And I asked him, I'm like, well, I'm thinking about moving back to LA or moving to New York. What are your thoughts? And he's like, with everything being online, you can do comedy anywhere. So YouTube is a perfect venue for you to find your funny. Maybe it's doing colleges. I've done biker rallies and made a lot of money doing it. I've started a sightseeing tour where I make people laugh every day, and then I'm at home and I make way more money than I would ever make with stand-up. There's a misconception that when you're headlining, you're gonna make a lot of money, and it depends. It really depends. If you've got merchandise to sell, going back to the don'ts, don't get merchandise until you've really got something good to sell or in an audience to sell it to. You're just wasting money you don't have. But do save your money if you get a chance. If you've come up with a great tagline, make a bumper sticker. But it's not going to do you any good if it's sitting in your closet and you can't sell it to somebody. You'll just end up giving it away at one point. But what Tim Wilson has said really resonated with me. There's no right or wrong way to do comedy. As long as you're making people laugh, isn't that the point? Isn't that the why you got into it in the first place? Do open and close your show with your strongest jokes, even if it's an open mic. Start with a strong one, end with a strong one. But if you want to have a strong set, even with an open mic, start with a strong joke, end with a strong joke. So these are my do's and don'ts of stand-up comedy. So if you like what you heard, you want to hear some more, click on the subscribe button down in the corner. I've got in the description some links to go to for more information. Hope you liked this video, and hopefully I'll be putting some more out there later. Thanks, and go break a leg. And write.